This message is going to sound crazy coming from somebody who has literally devoted their entire life to helping people. More specifically, helping people to transform their lives for the better. However, what I've learned in the years or the many years of first helping friends and family, those around me, those closest to me. Well, first helping myself, then helping friends and family, those around me, and then now coaching, consulting, and guiding, is that most people don't want the help. Now, this doesn't mean that most people aren't asking for the help or most people aren't saying they want the help. This isn't saying that most people don't yearn for the help or even desire the help. What I'm saying is that most people truly do not want the help. There's a huge difference. And the difference between, let's say, wishing for the help or desiring it as opposed to truly wanting it is that when you have a desire, it could be a weak desire. And you could, wow, that would be really nice if my life was different. I wish my life was different, right? A yearning for that difference. There's a difference between that and somebody who actually wants something. Like when you're in the state of wanting something, you will go find that something. Like right now, if you're like, man, I want a cheeseburger, you're going to find a cheeseburger no matter what happens, what takes place, what is in between you and the cheeseburger. You are going to find that cheeseburger. And it's the same thing when it comes to people transforming their lives for the better, right? Now, many of you watching are probably some type of coach or teacher. I'm not saying by profession. I just mean like that's your character. When you're somebody who is so devoted to the development of self, so devoted to growth, inner healing, etc., you are usually a person who was meant to help other people do the very same thing, right? And so what comes with that is the other side of it, which is you try to give guidance or you try to lead people, you try to help people, give people resources, show them the way of how to get out of their predicaments that they're coming to you with time and time again. And yet you finally realize that there's a disconnect here, right? I'm giving the advice. They're asking for the advice. They want the help. They're venting to me every single day or every other day or whatever it may be. They're calling, they're texting, they're begging, they're pleading, but yet they're not doing anything about it. Maybe they're not asking for the help, but they continue to come to you with problem after problem, complaint after complaint. And what you do not yet realize, or maybe have started coming to realize, is that they do not want your help. And in most cases, they enjoy being miserable. Now, I know that's a hard pill to swallow for any of us or even to fathom. Like, it's hard to imagine why somebody would enjoy misery. But when we get down to it, and when we get all the way to the very beginning and the subconscious programming and the conditioning that happens to us as children, and we start to become addicted to these negative emotions such as guilt, shame, undeservedness, insecurity, etc. When we start to develop those addictions to such emotions, they become your comfort zone. They become the space in which you would prefer to dwell because they are familiar feelings. It doesn't mean that they feel good necessarily. It simply means they are familiar. Therefore, familiar means something I can run to. It is certainty for me. And one of our innermost desires as human beings is a sense of certainty. We would rather have a sense of certainty in most cases than to have a better new outcome that we don't know what it's going to look like. And so most people are running around life saying that they want help, saying that they want change, saying that they want to transform. But when you look at the way that they're living their lives, when you look at their day-to-day activities, they're still running off the old programs more than the new one, right? Like, it used to baffle me because I used to think to myself, man, like, this person, they're telling me they want to change every day. They're coming to me, they're saying they want to change, And then I send them, videos, I send them books, different links, things to, to engage with. And then they come back to me and I'm like, hey, how was the book? Or, oh, you watched the video? I'm trying to discuss it. Oh, I haven't watched it. Oh, I haven't read it. Like, bruh, what? Okay, wait, but this is what I thought I thought you wanted the help though. No, I didn't get to it. But then They start to reiterate their problems once again, or they come with more complaints, new situations that happen, or those old situations that they continue to reiterate in order to get that attention, right? And again, I'm not here to demonize anybody in that space because I was that person. I was the person, well, actually, I didn't really ask for help, to be honest with you. I was a person who was running around, being in the streets, slanging dope, being on dope. I was that guy, and the people who would tell me to do better for myself, I just saw them as judgmental. Like, they don't understand my struggle. They don't understand me, right? And so I would just shun them and block them out completely. I didn't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear no verses, no Ezekiel, no nothing. I don't want to hear a damn thing from you right now. That was my mentality. But when I stepped into this space of, growth and inner healing, I started realizing that, man, there's a lot of people hurting. There's a lot of people in need. There's a lot of people yearning for a change, but that does not mean that they actually want to change. Because change is the most difficult thing you can ever do in your life. To become the new version or the version of you that you're always meant to be is probably going to be the most difficult work you do in your entire life. It's going to be more difficult than building a damn rocket. I promise you that. There are geniuses, individuals who have changed society forever, and yet those individuals have not done the internal work. And so you see them still living off of insecurity, still living off of anger, resentment, still living off of those old emotions that represented their past. And they might even be driven into quote unquote success, which isn't true success. They're driven into action through those old emotions. And so my point really here is when you find yourself frustrated trying to help people and you build your identity around helping people, it's not them with the problem at that point. It's actually you, right? Like at a certain point, it was no longer them because they obviously didn't want the change. But I said I did. And instead of me focusing that time and energy into developing myself, I would throw it into others who didn't want it as an excuse to ignore my own, and also as a way to validate myself, to get a sense of self-worth. Think about it. When you were raised in a household where your self-worth comes from consistent doing for people, then you grow up with the mentality that in order for me to be worthy, I have to continuously do, regardless of the resentment that might be in your heart or, the lack of a sense of truly wanting to do it from a gracious place. You will simply be doing things just to gain a sense of self-worth and validation. And so when you find yourself in that place, you think you're trying to help these people, who are going through such miseries and, are struggling with all these aspects of life over and over again. But what you're really doing is looking to validate yourself through quote unquote helping them. And what you're actually doing in the process of that is neglecting your own process and experience. We're supposed to be the light. We're supposed to be examples. That's what we're supposed to be. And again, I didn't always know this, but I came to discover this. We are meant to be the representation of that light. Now, people can watch that representation and do whatever the heck they want to do about it. That's up to them. It's not up to you. You have no say in whether that person steps out of that dark cave, steps into the light, or they stay in that dark cave and they fight their whole life to stay in that dark cave. Because some people will fight you to keep their limitations. Some individuals will wrestle you to the ground to stay exactly where they are in their own life, and then the next day they'll tell you that they need help. You got to watch people's actions. You got to watch their patterns. You got to watch the way they're moving about life, right? Everybody has the same access to the very same internet. We can all choose, are we going to watch the gossip channel, or are we going to watch or listen to, the spiritual literature? We all have that choice. Are we going to listen to that podcast that's going to feed us, or are we going to listen to the red table talk or whatever the heck is out at that point in time? That's not, well, some will say, well, that's therapeutic, but I'm just going to leave it at that. That's up to opinions right there. That's subjective. Are you going to feed into something that is feeding you, or are you going to feed into something that is distracting or disrupting your own nature or taking away your own power, right? Something that's usurping your authority. That decision is always up to us and is always up to them. And I know it's hard. I know we're here to help one another, but we're not here to force feed anybody. We're not here to lead the horse to the water and dunk its head into the water. No. We're here to say, hey, horsey, here's the water. I can show you the whole way there. But again, as the old adage goes, I cannot make you drink. You got to drink it for yourself, buddy. And if the horse is looking at you like, oh, you got to drink it for me too, I can't do that for you. I can't lift the weights for you. If we both went to the gym right now and you're telling me, man, I want to put on some muscle, whatever, I want to get my biceps big. And I tell you, okay, you got to do this exercise, that exercise, hit the curls, hit the hammer curls, right? Hit the curl bar. You're going to tell me, nah, bruh. Nah, I think you got to do that. You got to lift the weight for me so I can get buff. I will look at you like you done lost your mind, because you probably have. Because that's not how it works. If you want the result, you have to do the work. Nobody else can do it for you. And so when we get into the state of trying to quote unquote help people continuously who truly do not want to be helped, when we want something more for somebody else than they want it for themselves, they're not making any progress and we're not making any progress. Everybody is losing in that situation. Think about it. Think about it. If a person is telling you, right, you've been in a relationship, somebody told you all sweet nothings, oh, I want to marry you, I want to do this, I want to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they didn't do a damn thing. You know what that feeling's like. It's the same thing when somebody is giving this lip service about wanting to change. And again, I'm not here to shame anybody. I'm not here to victim blame or, put any sort of pressure on individuals. I'm here to actually wake your ass up, because you're the one in this point and time who is suffering most, because you're trying to drag people out of the holes that they dug for themselves, and they're fighting to stay in that hole. And you're the only one who is suffering right here, right now, in that circumstance. They're perfectly fine within their destruction. They are happy, or not happy, but they are comfortable in their misery. They are absolutely comfortable. This is what they know, and this is what they're choosing. And it's only when they hit their head on the ground, and most times when their head cracks open, will they finally make a decision to change. Very few and far between will watch life and gain wisdom through watching other people. But most of us, we're going to hit that rock bottom, splat out. And when we get back up, we realize that something's got to change, or this is going to be the end of me. And that survival instinct kicks in. And then when we realize that the body can't do nothing for us, that the external extremities can't do nothing for us, and we have to heal from within, now we finally take that baton and we run that race. Shout out to Coach Bobby Bluford. Amazing, amazing speech that he just put together with the analogy of the runner. Go check out his channel immediately. So, yeah, that's where I am right now. That's where I've been for, I guess I would say, the last few months, really, because I felt the pressures, the need to be the savior for the people that were closest to me who were suffering. And I believe that I was the only way they could stop that suffering. And I had to let go of that belief that I was their savior. I had to internalize the reality that the reason I was trying to be their savior was because I felt that was the only way I was going to be of value to them. I was extracting my own sense of self-worth through my martyrdom, through my trying to save them. I was extracting my own sense of self-worth through trying to save somebody else. Because at least then I could say, I have value. And I suffered. There's a saying that says you can't get sick enough to help a sick person get well. You can't get poor enough to help a poor person get wealthy. You can't get depressed enough to help a depressed person become joyful. You have to stand as the example of the thing that they aspire towards. And you got to do it for you first. Even in the place, in the space that I exist in, right? This world of healing. I also have to be very careful not to do things just for others to see, right? If I'm picking up a meditative practice, yes, I want to do it as a way to show you that you can do it, but I'm also doing it for me. Hell, I'm doing it for me first. I got to do it for me. I have to do it to cultivate my own inner peace. And then I can give that inner peace to you. I can give you the tools and the processes that you can go through to get to that space of inner peace. But it has to start with me for me, right? And that sounds selfish, but I say that the most selfless thing you can do is oftentimes the most selfish on the surface. You taking care of you taking care of your money, you taking care, of your external world is going to help people be able to have more resources or able to have more examples. So just how much more are you going to help those around you when you start to develop that internal aspect of yourself and you start to heal from within? That's going to be a damn game changer right there. Period. Now, I appreciate you first and foremost for watching this. If this was of value to you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and to like this video. Like, it literally costs you nothing to do so. Right? I used to not be that person, but I was like, nah, bruh, you have not because you asked not. So I'm asking right now. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. It's only going to feed you continuously for the rest of your existence. I guarantee it. Right? I put out at least one long form video a day, at least one short form video a day. So make sure to just saturate your mind with what's going to rewire your brain structure. And then once you're got your wheels rolling, you take them trainers off and you're off to the races. You ain't gonna need me. You actually don't need me, really. I'm just a guide, a mere guide on your way to the greatest and highest version and expression of yourself. I love you. I appreciate you. Peace.